sorry. I mean, seeing Robin make it makes he looks really young makes you realize how old he is.
All right, here we go. The lobby finals, kicking off the first game. This is the final 8 players. There's 4 teams remaining. 2 players per team. We're hopping on board with Dish Soap to start things off. The #1 points performer, but only by 1 point. Radius was right behind him. Dish Soap is here to take care of business. He says he's a LAN player. Do you believe that, Appy? Is like Dish Soap's like, I'm a LAN player?
Oh, hell yeah, I believe that.
Okay.
Well, I mean, I think he's not just a LAN player. I think he's also a tournament player, and I think he's also a ladder player. Because, you know, there haven't been that many tournaments in like, the history of TFT, particularly ones that Dish Soap has entered as well. So I think like the narrative that Dish Soap is a ladder warrior already doesn't have a lot of credence. And I mean, he's really shown today, like this week, how good he is in this setting.
Agreed. Anyone who says Dish Soap, honestly, anyone who says like Dish Soap, Setsuko, Soju, etc. are just ladder warriors are mostly memeing at this point. Anyone who seriously thinks that, is actually just not paying attention.
Agreed.
So you missed some good banter in the chat, by the way. Kyun thought he was a Carousel Beast, lost to Dog Dog, and was sad that he lost to a Hearthstone player, at which point Dog replied, I don't lose to a rat. You know, so some real good banter kicking off right away.
Dogs are physically capable of dominating rats, so that does anatomically check out. Yeah.
I wanted to close the loop on the Dish Soap point really fast. I'll be really curious to see how he performs in this lobby specifically. He was the favorite coming in, him and Nico. I think a big part of their edge was knowledge-based, if we're being honest. They came in as by far the most prepared team in the field. They knew all the tech. They were hiding it. It's hard to hide it while you're actually playing in the games, though, and this is a field full of really good players that pay attention, not to mention that we've been grinding the ladder the whole time. So this is going to be by far their toughest test. They're getting 3 other really good teams, all of which have a solid grasp on the meta. So will Dish Soap be able to dominate like he has against some of the people who were not as up to speed as him? Only time is going to tell. I still think they're the favorites, but I actually don't think the margin is anywhere near as wide as it was when they started their domination at the beginning of the event.
Yeah, and so you're talking about the experience gap coming in, right? Like the tech gap, the knowledge gap. But, the entire event, if you're looking at the players who've been grinding constantly, Solus is up there. He's constantly playing, as well as Robin, right? So there's at least one player in every team that seems to like really knowledgeable at this point. Like they have the tech. They've been practicing a lot.
Who's the knowledgeable one of your duo appies?
Oh. I know about Pokemon, and Brain knows a lot about Set 7.
Actually, the fact that you two were able to put on an incredibly competitive performance and threaten that top 3, and even make a deep run today shows just the raw skill that you two have.
Yeah,
it's actually so
Rain
scary.
is just so cracked, and then I was high rolling, and just like the set is pretty good for my playstyle in general, so I was able to feel things out of it. But yeah, Rain is just so cracked that I don't think there's any tournament that she will not just do well in.
Everyone knows also Bryce is the more knowledgeable one of our duo as well.
That's what I've been saying.
Actually, Mort, so Kent is like your theoretical Riot duo partner if you were competing in the event?
Yep, for sure.
So who is actually better at the game, you or Kent? Or like more knowledgeable and be able to dominate? It's gotta be you, right?
So at this point in the set, it's me by a lot. My ability is like picking things up and learning things very quickly, establishing what's good. As it goes on, Kent has a higher potential if he puts his mind to it. So, but he's also been working on the new set, so I don't know if he'll be quite as capped as he has been in the past.
Gotcha.
I know we've talked about this before, that we originally pitched you and Kent as a duo in this event. We really wanted to see you compete. I blame Daddy Riot for making that not happen. But if you had competed, having watched all of this play, how well do you think you would have done?
I think we probably would have gone. I think we could have made it. It would have been close, but we could have made it.
Could have made what? This?
I think we could have made top 4.
That's a high bar.
I think we could have made top 4. I feel like a lot of the players here have been tunnel focused really hard and made a lot of mistakes, and that we kind of have an advantage at this point in the set where we're a little more familiar. Especially me, I have a lot more familiarity with some of like the counter lines and different plays, but. Again, kind of an advantage, right? We've had the set for a lot longer.
You did design it after all.
Yeah.
For those who don't know, Mort actually bullies the in-house Riot tournaments and stuff like that all the time. He just completely dunks on all these poor riders who's just excited that they get to be part of like the exclusive first look at new set thing, and Mort's just coming here averaging a 1.2.
I mean, There's a little of that going on. I'm not gonna lie.
Shadow
Oh, good.
Mort
Mort has his
though,
own
right?
micro Disneyland.
Man, I really want to see it now, Mort. I was really wanted you guys to compete before, and now I really want you guys to compete as my partner in crime is breaking stuff over here, knocking Nerf guns on the ground.
I'm breaking hearts.
He's
not
so
Nerf
upset
guns.
that Morton Kent did not have the opportunity to compete in this event. He could not contain himself.
So 3 people, by the way, just talking a little bit about the game. We promised to be a little bit more serious in the final lives, and we're
It's
just
game
goofing
one.
off
We'll
here.
build up to it.
3 people leveled to 5. Also, I really like the way that Ray's trying to play around the Raider spoils to try to give his gangplank the element of surprise. Certain units have different... what's the term? Not tailoring based off the unit that you can put closest to Ezreal. So Gangplank apparently can also Blitzcrank Hug, which is interesting.
Yeah, since Gangplank's considered a unit that can be on the front line, the extra health is considered one of those viable options for him. He's a melee unit, and so the Blitzcrank grab is within his pool of possible options here. So that tailoring kind of gets wider as you hit those frontline champions. That's why I really like it on the backline AD champions. All 3 of the options there are really valuable. You get the Collector, the Triforce, and the...
Cleaver?
Yep, the Cleaver. So all of those are really good.
Cool. So you like Collector. I guess it's just nice to farm a couple extra pieces of gold,
Yeah, well,
right?
certainly in the early game, right? Like late game, I'm not going to want a Collector, but early game, you know, getting 2 or 3. We talk about that drip economy that's kind of gone from the set now. Collector is one of the few places you can still get that drip economy.
Oh, okay. And so Robin has the exact same augment, right? And I actually love what Robin's doing here because we were seeing this yesterday.
Cargo.
Yeah, so you have to clump so that if you roll Randuins, you actually get full Randuins value, which is something that Dog wasn't doing. This is something that actually like ended one of my streaks yesterday. I was like, oh, that's so smart.
How does it target which unit? Will it give to Blitzcrank here because it's the 2-star?
It'll give to Blitzcrank specifically because it has 2 items.
Oh, because it's 2 items.
Whoever has
Okay,
more
so,
items.
okay, I see. So if he had not belted the Blitzcrank here, he cannot guarantee it. So this is good
Correct.
understanding from Robin.
Ooh, Robin thinking about if he wanted to slam with Spark, but he realized he got
already
another
has
item.
one. Well, he also has the Spark.
That's true, that's true.
And this is actually the bummer about putting the belt there is that Blitzcrank would be the obvious holder of Spark if he wanted to go for that.
I think it wasn't placed there. I think Robin actually started off with Blitzcrank and Belt, so that's just kind of the dynamic. And it's a good combination. You 2-starred it. He's going up against Lulu 2 that has a Runin. This is just good fundamentals of, like, yes, Lulu is an AP champion, but you can just put Runins on a high-quality upgraded unit because it has higher base stats. And, of course, getting Gadgeteam Warmogs, the most oppressive Stage 2 item in the game.
Yeah, the Warmogs is already overperforming a bit. The Gadgeteam version also getting that % health regen is just disgusting in the early game.
You can't kill any 2 in stage 2. Even anyone, honestly, with a
Yeah, that
Warmogs on
anyone
it.
did not come close to dying.
I'm sure you've answered this a couple times more, but just, you know, in case you haven't for this weekend, why is Gadgeteam only a smaller pool of items as opposed to, like, a big variety?
I mean, the real answer is just time of implementation. You know, making 36 new variants is a little much. But also, we tried to make it items that the champions would want, the actual Gadgeteam champions. And so like, giving him a Deathblade felt really awkward. Like, none of those champions are really interested in the Deathblade. So we went with items that, like, the heroes would come together and make for their own crew.
Gotcha. Makes sense, makes sense.
Have you thought about pulling the gold off of this augment, by the way? Because I feel like this augment is really good, even if it didn't give 1 gold every round.
If you want the lame excuse here, basically, you're right, but we were past localization lock, and so we can't change text, and it'd be very weird if the augment said, and gain 0 gold. That looks really weird, because that is an option. We can do that.
I think that's awesome.
Yeah, that'd be really funny. Although
In fact,
I do recognize that
everything.
His DMs would be...
for disaster.
You want a really funny one? Have you actually looked at the Gadgeteam Giant Slayer item?
Yeah, it's overflow stack error.
It says overflow stack error, and it says if the enemy has over 1 health.
Oh.
Yes,
I have had so many players just like that joke go over their head and report it as a bug. Like, this item name is clearly incorrect. The Chloe who came up with that item was like, is this joke just too hard? I'm like, no, it's a good joke.
No, it actually
It's
is.
a natural selection moment. It's really good.
Yep, it's a great joke.
But also goes to show you, like, the weird dichotomy. It's like TFT players don't read, and when they do read, they happen to point out things and jokes that go over their heads.
Yep. It's great.
Least clueless competitive multiplayer game community. Archangel's pretty good. A lot of people actually don't like Archangels for whatever reason. I heard multiple people I respect tell me they think Archangels is
a lot weaker this set and like kind of bad. And I was really shocked to hear that. Does anyone agree or disagree with that?
Yeah, I think it's just a little bit of a thing in the meta right now where like a lot of the fights are pretty quick, right? Zed's killing everything quickly, Viego's killing everything quickly, so it's really hard to scale. And then like, the AP counter to that, right? Or the AP like maybe answer is like Talia stuff, where like you need to be killing the Zed if he's near your Talia, you need to be killing him instantly, you need to be just like doing a lot of bursts. So I think it's kind of tough to want a skilling item like that. It's a little different than Rage Blade, right? Because it's not like with Rage Blade, if you have base attack speed, like from Duelist, it's so multiplicative in how fast you stack it, but there's nothing like that for Archangels. So I think as meta shifts, like we'll see it come back in.
Interesting, interesting.
A little bit of a different take here. I think, you know, we've got Spell Slingers. They're never going to really want it. They're going to want the crit line because they've already got that base AP. And then everyone else, like Viego, for example, is going to want that upfront AP. And now that Death Cap is actually like pretty close to better until 16 seconds into the fight, you want that upfront AP.
Yeah.
Misfortune, theoretically.
But even Misfortune, like that first ult can be so impactful. Aurelion Sol feels like one of the better users of Archangels, but right now he's a little weak in the meta. So I think it's more to do with the champions and, like I said, the pace of combat than it is the item itself. I doubt the item actually needs any real adjustments.
Yeah, I mean, if the meta starts moving towards like slower, more frontline, backline heavy fights that are less explosive, then we'll definitely see it become a thing.
Yeah. A little tricky spot here for Unico. I do think that he wanted both simultaneously something like item grab bag, but he isn't really down on items. His augment already gave him item-based power through Ezreal. And so just picking Electro Charge, I think it's really solid. Unico has, what I define as the harder role, which is like supporting what Dish Soap is trying to do, because he's trying to play a lot of uncontested, unusual lines and stay out of Dish Soap's lane. And I feel like, to his credit, he's definitely been quietly one of the biggest MVPs of this tournament.
He has, and one thing we haven't talked about enough is that they inherently play the exact same way, right? In a field full of partners that it can be kind of a little haphazard, or even if they're friends, they're not like doing the same thing. And Nico and Dish Soap are unbelievably similar players. They both want to lean towards the AP line really hard. They like to play around the same type of tempo in the game. So staying out of Dish Soap's way is a meaningful sacrifice to his own gameplay, and Nico's been doing it really well.
And I don't know if he mentioned this on broadcast actually after the game ended, but there was that anima game, that 7 anima game that he played. It turns out he was talking to me after, he's telling me that he was wanting to play Kai'Sa that game, but then like middle of stage 3, Dish was like, I'm going to play Kai'Sa 3 this game. And he's like, okay, well, what am I going to do now?
Yeah, and his only backup line was threats, and then Dog took dice at 3-2. And so it's like, oh god, I march of progress, and the 2 lines on this are not available.
But yeah, so he just like pivoted instantly, so
he pivoted
Dish Soap the individual. Yeah, but like Dish Soap won that game, right? So I mean, just great teamwork.
Yeah, it doesn't show up on an Eco stat sheet, but they clearly sacrificed his game.
Won the
for
homie award that game.
Yeah.
It's great. Support players, they're gems.
It's interesting actually that that Nico decided to put the items on Neela. I'm wondering if he likes doing this in general, because I generally like to put items on like the Riven or like something that I feel is a little more. Ooh.
Right.
But this Neela unit is not normal.
Yeah. I think it's because, well, one, yes, Neela is probably the stronger of the units at 1 star, but at the moment, I think he wants to keep his items on units that he knows he can sell. So I think all of those. Although he is holding extra Star Guardians on the bench. Oh, that Blitzcrank surviving is annoying.
You can also argue that because the defenders already get a bunch of armor, right? You get half as much if you're not a defender, that the armor is more effective on the Neela as well.
Iso with Rod? Or
I really think this is as simple as a unit quality diff. I think that Neela with these items is a lot more work than Riven with these items. I think that the Archangel probably, if there is a fight that stalls out longer, it is the Star Guardian board. So I think given his situation, he's going to be full sitting here and playing flex. But if you got to pick his line, I think he would play vertical Star Guardian Talia carry here.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think the flip side of that is that like if Neela doesn't really need items to heal anyone, right? But if you put items on the people around her, then she'll you get just as much effective HP because she's healing all of them, right? But again, it's just like a
board.
Oh, interesting.
Unico's one of his greatest strengths is rolling on 7 right now. He knows how to play around 2 and 3 costs very well. Zed,
thinking about mech
Viego,
and this Mord is actually huge for his board, right? Because all of his units do magic damage, and he has Electro Charge 3. So that armor, that Amar Shred from Mord is going to be such a big difference maker in fights.
Okay, so he just lightly rolls. He still actually has a ton of gold on his bench, so even though it looks like he rolled to 16, this is like the average
hard stuck TFT players like, I rolled 30 goals. Actually, you rolled like 6 times, but you're holding like 10 goals on your bench or 15.
That does happen a lot.
And Nico doesn't really have zoomer speed, right? So this is how he's going to transition his board. He's going to do it methodically. He's going to make sure that he never gets weaker. He slowly but surely upgrades units on his board, finds other outs, and he's kind of playing patient.
Great
getting
discipline.
Getting a win here, by the way, against a player that was, I think, was Curve 100 HP? I think he was.
Close to it, yeah.
I mean, the way Nico's board wins fights here is just so good, right? Like every unit on the board is doing something. His augments are insane.
Right.
Okay.
And a Viego pair, so now he has an AP transition with Archangels. Is actually a great item on Viego.
I don't know about great, because again, I think that Viego does prefer that upfront damage, but part of the, what you're doing in the set is you have to play around whatever you hit. If you're going to hit Viego, in Viego, then you play Viego, and AP on Viego is good.
All right, how do you define great?
An item that I'm excited to have on the champion, and I'm not excited to have this on the champion. It just kind of does its job.
Yeah, interesting. I think
It just feels like a little bit of a worse Rabadons, right?
I think it's like a much worse Rabadon.
I think the nice thing here is I don't think it's like that much worse. Right?
Yeah, that's what I'm
Sure.
saying. Okay,
It's
thank
a
you.
little worse. It's a little worse. The one argument you could also give here is that by having the tier, you do get that initial cast. So hypothetically, go like Archangels, Hodge, +1, and maybe you're getting a much earlier start to swing the fight early.
Definitely still a decent item.
Solus trade offer. I take 20. You make 8.
What does that make 8 mean?
I don't actually know.
Like you make 8.
Level
Usually we
8?
say make something is usually making gold.
Viegos.
Ah, I see,
Oh, he wants him to sell the Viegos. Hafu with the big translation.
I see. Oh, Hafu speaks Solus.
Yeah.
She's so talented.
She is. She's so multi-talented.
Man.
So, looking at Solus' board, he is playing the Soul Eater Nasus augment, which is basically like throw the hunt but for your whole team.
Solus was telling me that he absolutely hates rolling on 7 with Viego, so I'm wondering if he's actually going to send it with the Nico to look for Viego too, or if he's going to just
He has
try
to.
wait.
It's a Zed.
I mean, he's 41 HP, so you think he'd have to, right?
He has to.
Yeah.
He has to full
The
send.
interesting thing about this whole it's a Zed and Viego meta is there's also a line you can play to play both.
Yep.
Oh my God,
Whoa,
BTJG. What are these items? Hodge?
He sold his
Zed, so it looks like he's pretty committed.
does
He's
hit
picking up
yellow
Talia pair.
Or yeah, Talia.
You go Shojin JG.
Okay.
Oh, come on, Solus.
Whoa.
Oh my God.
See,
I think
this is one of those moments where if
Mortog's
he
in
goes
pain.
8,
Yeah.
deserves it.
This is why we'll never win Worlds,
No.
What are you talking
Solus
about?
isn't making worlds, bro. It's fine.
Okay, wait, no. That's first of all.
Also, this is like the most CN move ever.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I'm saying. China literally rolled past 2-star, what was it, Draven VIP?
Yeah. When in the Sivir meta.
And so I know what you're saying, and I do agree that we're farther from winning Worlds and closer to it at the moment, but you can't say it because of something like that.
Yeah. Dan's totally right. This is like, there are so many CN players that would think about the game exactly the same way.
Yes.
If you think, basically what Solus is saying is he thinks Talia is bad, and he thinks Viego is so good.
From his spot.
From his
specifically,
spot,
which
yeah.
I kind of understand why.
Yeah,
but
it's hard to fit the Nasus augment onto a board that involves Samira, or sorry, that involves the Talia, where it's much easier on the Viego line.
And with the Nico, you can
Really? You
reasonably hit
think
the Viego too this game, right?
Maybe not actually. It's probably both.
I actually disagree with that. Oh my God, Renegade Crest.
6 Renegade being one of the strongest synergies in the game right now, especially when you're carrying Viego.
The only thing that I think could be better than this is if he rerolls against Oxforce Crest. Although he could theoretically reroll and get like Battle Mage as well, which is a really strong augment. Oh, he
wonder
wants
if he takes
second
it.
wind?
If he has to play the Nasus on his board, then
Oh my God!
and he's
What
gonna
a
hit another
God.
Viego here for sure.
There's a Viego
Duplicate.
shot.
Of course he does. If anyone watching at home can just picture the saddest person on planet Earth, it is Mort Dog, who is just empty-eyed,
head.
staring at this screen, is so mad that Solus was rewarded for playing so inflexibly, but he was
Okay, but North America's chances to win Worlds just increased by like a fraction.
a factor of
result.
10.
Yes, because that is literally like, what would China do? That's exactly what they would do.
So earlier today, Solus was kind of giving Bryce and I the rundown on the Viego tech.
Yeah.
But
What a homie.
He's pretty confident in giving us the rundown before the tournament, before we played. But
Oh, because he knew you guys weren't a threat.
yeah, apparently. And It's actually, like, looking at these fights, it's actually so smart, the stuff he was saying, right? Because he was a couple things, right? He was saying that he likes to put Viego in front of the carry, one, because it just has a chance to get back there, but it just gives mana really quickly, and then you just kind of drain tanks.
Yep.
Because he was saying that he sees Viego as a drain tank, more than, like, just like a, you know, I'm going to blow up your
Oh!
kind of thing. Okay.
This is just disgusting.
And then we're
Someone
gonna see
check him PC.
We're going to see him greed for Titans here, too, because he absolutely loves Titans, because he just stacks it in front of the carry as well.
Wait, he has an entirely upgraded board.
Yeah, that's pretty disgusting.
Heck?
Solus is top 4 in this game. Solus could top
He's
1
winning
this
Worlds.
game. Solus winning Worlds, confirmed.
The thing about it,
is
write
so
it
happy
down.
about that.
Is Solus is, you know, he is like a knowledge-based player. He is very tech-oriented, and like the thing is, this is exactly what Solus does. At the beginning of the set, he's a really, really strong player.
Yep.
Understands the lines, but when other people catch on to it, he does tend to struggle a little bit. But so far, he's looking pretty.
Yeah.
He is. And that nuance that Appies was talking about, the depth with which he thinks about lines, that's Solus's advantage, right? He finds edge that other people are not able to find. He's just not always clean in his play. So it's hard as the set becomes solved for him to kind of outplay other players of this caliber. But at this stage, he's really, really scary.
It's really fun to pick his brain about it, too.
So fun. He's one of
Yeah.
the most interesting people to talk to about TFT. He's super good. I would love to check out Kyun's spot. We know where basically Nico is at. We haven't really checked in on Kyun.
Oh, he has
or
threat
Red.
level maximum.
Oh.
Whoa.
That's one of the most fun augments to play in the set, in my opinion. But also, I think the data on it is outrageous, is it not?
Yeah, if everyone doesn't know, it's
It's
what,
like
100
really, really
HP?
good right now.
It's like 100 HP on your threat for every threat you're playing,
I think it's 50 now.
Is it
It's
50 now?
75.
Oh, 75. Okay, so that's
75?
what the difference.
The crazy, if you think about it compared to the Vi one, the boxing one, that one's 250 health for your team and is
Yeah.
doing insane. So in the situations where you have this going, this can be upwards of 400 health, 500 health, right? And so like
He's
that
got-
is a lot of flat
He
health
has
here.
6 threats and a KO on his board right now. Velvet 2!
Oh!
Yeah, so this is 450 health.
Oh, we need to
Yes,
upgrade. We need to
and
upgrade a
he's-
frontliner.
oh
Oh, there we
my
go.
God.
How about both of them?
Both of them. That's a Rammus 2 and a Cho'Gath 2. He also has the support K-Logman to increase range. So this
Oh, this is my
Bel'Veth,
Bel'Veth. This is my favorite.
Oh,
about
this
to do
is
some
my
crazy
favorite.
stuff.
Oh, this is so
This
good.
is my
Let's get
favorite.
another
it's some
Bel'Veth,
slapping
too.
for slapping. Actually, great Zephyr from Kyun as well. Fantastic spot positioning here from Kyun. Will that swing the fight?
I mean, it might. That's an Ox
Maybe.
Force.
Yeah, it's Ox Force
Bel'Veth.
versus Edge of Night. So one has re-aggro, the other one just has the invulnerability.
The Oxford Strat is also a lot more attack speed, right? These low HP thresholds.
Range. Nice. Kyun is now looking like he can potentially make that comeback. The problem is there's a lot of strong boards in this lobby.
Yeah, this is a really cool board, but you're right. So a lot of players that were weak and had to roll down at 7 hit, and that's a huge part of the dynamic of the meta right now is because there's so many good units to play around, rolling at 7 is really, really powerful. And basically, one of two things happens. You roll down super hard, you get early access to the units, and if you can get the upgrades, you're ridiculously strong, you actually have win-out potential, or you just miss and go 8th. And it feels like the players that were at the bottom have hit. We haven't gotten to see a Nico yet, so maybe he hasn't. Oh, it looked like a Nico had an MF2 on his board, and I just saw him make a Sejuani so he might have hit as well.
Oh, maybe, yeah, because so we watched him roll with the Neela more
Yep.
stuff, right? He was looking pretty strong for the stage. Okay, and then, dude, this Bel'Veth range looks so good.
Yeah, look at this.
Like I said, this is my favorite. I've been preaching the Recon or this version of Bel'Veth for so long. I like the
Recon
Edge of Night here.
Bel'Veth.
Recon.
Yeah, is it whoa.
It's so fun. But yeah, the Edge of Night here and the Last Whisper also getting that armor shred, the Hurricane. The Hurricane especially does a lot of procs here, so it can do a lot of damage here. Just needs to up his front line. Right now, he's really lacking the front
He
line.
lost to Robin.
So the thing
teammate.
with Robin's board, right? We've seen I think there's some really, really cool combinations between units on augments and spats in this set. Spat, pretty hard spat is insane on Zoe. When he has this hard spat, the blue buff in the blue battery one, so it's so much mana, or rather AP for the team.
Okay, and Nico was not the Misfortune player with the Archangel. He is the Viego player with the Archangel, and he is 3 loss. His Viego items are Omega Scuff. I feel like Shred on Viego is fine. It's not terrible. It's not great. And then he has Guard Breaker, but he has nothing to make it crit. Oh, that makes sense. It's Shred.
Yeah, that was Obsidian
Yeah,
Cleaver.
yeah.
I think that the fact that he has a Spark already makes that Obsidian Cleaver much weaker to play around. I wonder how he wants to play the Ezreal positioning. Okay.
2 Sejuanis.
So this ends up making it so that Ezreal's going to likely give an item to either Sejuani or Alistar right now? Kind of unusual. Okay, he's going to give it to the other Sedge.
Okay, he's giving it to the Sedge.
That makes sense.
Yeah, which is usually like Eternal Winter or Zanya's or the Anima Visage, the Blitz Grab. Blitz Grab could also catch a lot of people off guard
But
here.
Bella's hitting the Viego first. It's just going to go down immediately because the extra range means that even the dashes, it doesn't react.
Oh, the play-by-play casting from Appies.
Nicely done. So the second cryo grenade is not going to come out until really, really late. It's 17 seconds for the fight, finally going off, but Solos has no more damage.
Yeah, and the Bella is scaling, so there's just no incentive.
He is dead.
So going back to the Solus tech with the Viego thing, right? So one of the reasons why Solus feels so safe with having his Viego in the corner like this is look at his Alistar, right? Any HP item on his board goes onto the Alistar, it will heal up the Viego when it's low HP, and he just doesn't die.
He will also always have the healing on the Viego for the cast, and he's
Yeah.
going to get big AoE damage, which means it's going to heal, plus the Titan stacking as well. The
So much
thoughtfulness of the approach to this line is really, really high from Solus.
Yeah.
Kurum playing kind of a cool variation of the Duelist board, having things like Shojin on Neela. And looks like Souls was studying his board. The teammates going up against each other. Kurum's not joining with us in the studio, but he's here in spirit. Also playing scope weapons, Zed with no hacker in the backline, by the way.
I wonder if he wanted to not hack or if that was his like stage.
Right, right. Well, it could be just the fact that they know they're going up against each other potentially, so they were scouting and talking about their boards to try to weaken them.
Yeah.
Maybe, although it feels like the Solus' board is just always going to dominate Kurum's board here.
Yeah.
But that's okay. I mean, Kurum has a few lives left to give. Kiyun takes a loss. Dog takes a loss. We could actually check in with Dog. That'd be cool. Haven't gotten a chance to see his spot.
I think Dog just hit Zed too.
Okay. Oh, Oxford said.
Yeah, and so this is like one of those variations we talked about where you can actually have them bleed together through Zed and Viego, but there were so many Viego players, Dog hasn't hit.
Yeah, I think maybe it's really hard to hit the Viego 2 here without like with only 2, or it's a 6 loss force, but with no healing item, it's gonna go down pretty quickly and have a really hard time making it to Ascension, where a lot of the value is gonna be found for his board. So it's gonna be hard to actually get things going, I think.
One thing I've noticed about Dog a lot is that he frequently sends Zed down the middle. I think that because of the hacker targeting, he thinks that he's going to get more consistent access to the backline. So if you're wrong side, it's really punishing. But if you throw it down the middle, it will oftentimes like attack a middle backline unit and then just kind of walk its way along the backline, which is really interesting and something I'm trying to pay a little bit more attention to as the tournament's going on to see, because hacker positioning can be so valuable. Oh.
He's living.
He's living.
Yeah,
Kiyun is not living.
An interesting thing with the middle Zed, I was thinking about this too, because what Zed will do, right? Because generally people will have their backline in such a way where like their carries on one side and there's not a lot on the other side, right? So since Zed like flips around his target, like jumps behind his target, often if he's middle, he'll jump behind the target into like right next to the carry and just kill the carry second.
Goes for the Bloodthirster. I think he thought about the Renegade spot, or a Renegade Emblem.
Solus is going to get the Renegade Emblem.
That's pretty filthy. The Renegade Emblem allows him to free up a team slot, but the Bloodthirster helps keep the Viego alive, so it's kind of a tricky decision there.
Yeah, I like the BT there. I think it's super valuable and makes the Viego much more scary other carry. And he could hit here because Nico was holding.
Side, though. His cap is way lower because if he had the Renegade Emblem here for the Aphelios, it would be really, really strong.
True.
Well,
doesn't hit.
We'll see. I mean, kind of depends on how strong his matchups are. He's looking at Robin, he's looking at Dish Soap. Dish Soap, by the way, very quietly putting on another good top 4 performance pretty soon.
Yeah, he's just so good at saving HP and being very, very consistent in the top 4. And then also just converting that into a win out.
Nice positioning.
The right side.
Hard to do.
Zoe's going to yeet out of here with Prankster. Yeah. Oh, didn't yeet very far, though. Zoe's dead.
Yeah, just eats her up.
Easy, easy fight win.
Sometimes, okay, Mark, can you explain the times when, like, you know, Zoe, like, I put her in the front line and she jumps to, like, my enemy's back line? Yeah. I don't understand that sometimes.
Yeah.
Like, that's, like, the most random thing ever.
Basically, we've got some work to do there, but it comes down to where are the most available areas, and with the Zed in the backline, it sort of cancels out a lot of available hexes.
Got it,
especially if there's like 2 things nearby, you can sometimes go, okay, I need to go all the way over here. But yeah, still some work to do there for sure.
No worries. It's actually kind of inconsequential. It's really funny when that happens.
And it turns out, I don't think we've seen Dish Soap before yet, but he's re-rolling Ashe, who is really, really strong. We saw that today with DQA at the very beginning of the day. And, you know, I think we talked about this before, but it's like kind of topping the charts in China right now, right?
Yeah, for sure. This is definitely, it's also, you know, we're at the start of the set where a lot of the more easy comps to play are going to be doing well. And Ashe is definitely one of the easy ones, right? Just grab some base AD items, re-roll the supers, re-roll around this, and get a very strong Ashe that's just going to melt people down really, really quick.
Yeah,
I really like this ace emblem on Yasuo. I think one of the more tricky things about Ashe is that sometimes stacking up a secondary damage source while you're rerolling for everything is really, really tough. And by doing so, this Yasuo ended up doing a ton of work, eliminating Dog. Yes, Dog hit, but it was a little bit too late. Also, just the strong board from Dish Soap is just too much to overcome.
Oh, Robin.
Robin stays alive, but Solus also lost for the first time. And now Solus, who was on a win streak, is now almost potentially bot 4.
And depending on what happens with Solus and Robin, we might have 4 players in the top 4 and 4 players in the bot 4 from every team. If Robin winds up going out here, then Team Old Rat is going to be our only team all in the bot 4 in the first game. And Kerm and Solus, coming in from our wild card tournament, would be the only team with 2 players in the top 4.
Yeah.
Man, I miss Kurum.
I do too.
I wish he would get healthier soon, so that way we can have him in the studio.
Big same. He would have been so fun on the casting couch.
Absolutely, and he was having a blast too. He will get better.
Yeah, hopefully we get a chance to run it back.
Summit 2, yeah.
Coom's in the chat. Coom popping off, so has a chance to win this tournament from his hotel room.
I don't know. Dish Soap took Shroud. That's, you know, a bit of a rat move.
Edge.
And this situation being Shroud, that's a little sweaty.
Rob is thinking about Morello when he already has Sunfire. He's thinking about how Nunu can apply to the back line.
Oh, okay, that's humongous for Robin.
Yeah, and he takes the BT as well.
Double BT.
And this Nunu's going to be scaling so well with all the units proccing Heart that he's going to be a monster by the end of the fight.
He is. This Nunu.
Another Nunu, why not?
Nunu kind of underrated as a carry at 2-star, I think. I think this unit can do a lot of work on the right board, and I think this board actually could be that board. The scaling AP with the 4 Heart, Zoe with the blue buff and the Heart Crest is going to do an unbelievable amount of work.
Going up against Solus's board, who has...
Oh, Rand's the Shroud.
The Renegade, sorry, the Leona with the Ox Force, which is going to be really strong. She gets to the back line, but can anything take down this Zoe quickly so she doesn't spread AoE and rack up that AP? I just don't think Robin can get it done. There's just a little bit too much power.
Yeah.
All right, well, 5th is okay.
Looking at Solus's augments there just to see exactly what was
just
quite
now
so
realizing that all I see there is that Solus said nothing.
Yeah. By the way, another player that also has had a great tournament that we talk about kind of seldomly. I guess don't talk about it enough. It's just Radius is crushing, man. He's top 4 again. He was the 2nd highest performer just by 1 point. And his board state is just really cool.
Yeah, such a cool board.
So Solus did drop from 41 health to 10 health, but Solus also has 8 Ox Force now. 8 Ox Force is insane amounts of attack speed, which kind of explains how everyone got blown up so hard. That is going to be a really hard comp to beat.
It doesn't explain how he lost, though, but we'll see. Maybe something from Radius, who's been streaking 5 in a row now, can get it done. This Fiddlesticks, by the way, with Mana Zane and the Infinity Edge.
And CZ Rides, Gigabis.
Dark Harvest can maybe do some pretty big damage. Talon not able to finish off the Edge of Knife, and the Thieves Clubs end up giving a second life.
So
right in the face, right in the face, right in the
make
face.
it rain!
No!
Ox Force. We love
Ox Force.
I don't know if Appy's had the chance to share this with you yet more, but actually going into the set, like right when it came out, Appy's and I did a couple-hour walkthrough of everything. And when we went through the Ox Force trade, he was like, oh, this trade is going to be...
The most broken thing in the set, for sure. Yeah. It's one of those things where, like, you know, it's not like a bunch of stats or anything, but you know, extra downtime in a fight, or you know, like not being able to die is so impactful, whether or not it has like, you know, AP or attack speed or anything attached to it.
It's diamond hands on every unit.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, essentially. Ray does get a Urgot, so a little bit extra CC. He might end up swinging this fight. Dish Soap is not healthy enough for him to, you know, get that top 3 right now, but he can try to lose by fewer units than Kurum, because Kurum is almost certainly
nice
going to lose.
Zephyr here from Ray.
Oh, gets shrouded though. Well, not too bad with the Archangel.
Yeah,
right? The first
Archangel.
is going to be pretty strong, so.
Calculated.
Yeah, exactly.
This shot hurts a lot, though, because it is both these units that he wants to cast as soon as possible. And Ash is now landing and doing some pretty good DPS.
Oh,
Oh,
God.
okay.
Ooh.
It's just so hard to kill this Renekton before the
Yeah.
Ashe gets to kill the whole board.
One more cast. Do you ever cast again?
Potentially
MF
edge.
against the world?
Ray going out in
Oh, third
okay.
though. Okay. I mean,
has
honestly,
him.
he was not going to get better than that, so.
And here we have
We take those.
8 Ox Force versus the most broken comp in China.
True.
We'll see.
That means we have a China versus NA Final 2 in game number 1 of the finals of the North American TFT's inaugural summit. Who will reign supreme? Will it be the soulless tech, or will it be Dish Soap copying the region that farms us every Worlds? Find out now.
Soul is about to unironically win Worlds.
That is
in
how
this
you sound
game.
like, by the way. You're like mocking the average TFT caster, but that is how you sound.
I think I'm mocking myself. I'm good with
It's
it.
true. Bryce is just admitting that he's a walking parody of himself, so.
Who do you think wins this? I feel like it's Soulless.
Yeah, 8 Ox Force is just banana. Isn't it like
It's a lot.
200 to 400 attacks or something
That's
like
what it is.
It's just, the number just sounds outrageous, does it not?
It can be really hard to get resets on these frontline, these like big 3-star frontliners though, so maybe there's a chance.
Look at the Aphelios attack speed with the Shojin. It's just going to chain cast and stun. Got shrouded, it's already stunned twice.
This Yasuo's living.
He can't break through the front line.
Yeah.
The Ashe is just doing it.
What the heck?
There it is.
Oh, Solis
that.
just got Dish Soap diffed.
Once again, China reigns
So-
supreme.